All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being here. Today we're going to discuss the decrease that we saw in 2024 in reported auto thefts. Today you'll be hearing from Chief Medina and Commander Bernard from our ISD.
Good afternoon, morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. We're going to talk a little bit about auto theft, and I just want to start a little bit about the history of auto theft during this administration. In 2017, December 2017, I returned back to the city of Albuquerque and the Albuquerque Police Department. Auto theft was #1 in the country. We had a double-digit decrease in 2018 in auto theft, and we were so far #1 that we remained #1 even after that decrease. In the years to come, we continually have been able to reduce that number, and I think last year's ranking we were seven. I'm looking to you guys. 6, 7, I'm saying 7. I think we were down to 7, and that was a huge decrease for us to go from 1 to 7, while the whole time the state of New Mexico actually increased, and the state of New Mexico went up, I think, to 5 or 6. So while the city has seen a decline in our national ranking, the state has seen an increase, and the rest of the state has seen increases in that. Last year, we had 3 more cities enter the top 50 that hadn't been in the top 50 before. I think it was Las Cruces, Farmington, and Santa Fe entered into the top 50 in stolen cars. So for us, we have a sense of pride with the Albuquerque Police Department that we continue. This year's decrease, the information we're getting from across the nation is that everybody else is still seeing increases in auto theft as they did last year, and we're still seeing a decrease, 7% decrease in 24 from 23, and we're hoping that we're going to be able to drop out of the top 10. Auto theft unit is a very proactive unit. They're one of our most proactive units that we have in the city, and they have 2 targeted proactive operations. And the philosophy is auto theft is to go out proactively and find individuals in stolen cars and take them to jail. The auto theft unit is continually looking for trends. Last year we dealt with the Kia Boyz at one point in time. We've dealt with other individuals during the course of the year, and they're always looking to see how we could take some of these high active criminals who are impacting auto theft the most into custody as quickly as possible. They also identify the top 25 auto theft offenders, share this information once a week at our Duke City Stat meeting, and that has been invaluable for our field to be able to take a lot of these individuals into custody. A lot of times we reach out to the community through Crime Stoppers, and those Crime Stopper tips lead to information that helps us take some of these individuals into custody. We have utilized a lot of technology over time, whether it's bait cars, license plate readers, cameras. All this technology has assisted us in making sure that we're able to continue to combat auto theft. We recognize that we needed to do something different with Hyundais and Kias last year after the increase in their threats, and we actually were able to give 500 steering wheel lock out to the community. And we have, since we've put all this effort into it, we have seen that that is no longer our most stolen car for the year. We hold VIN etchings consistently throughout the course of the year, and our officers are very responsive to auto theft. We've made some changes that also enable us to be more proactive in the community, and at times it's upset some people, but it does have a reasoning behind it. We dispatch officers to stolen cars. We don't dispatch officers to locations where we know stolen cars are not. And at times those 2 terms get a little bit confused by individuals, but if you have a stolen car and you know where it's at, it will go into the queue and officers will get there when that call is up. If you're reporting your car stolen, I'm not sending an officer to the one location that I know the stolen car is not at. That is where you're reporting the car being stolen from. So we'd rather have our officers out in the field taking individuals into custody. We've also done a lot in working on detention and the prosecution of these individuals, because we all know that in a lot of ways, our property crimes offenders are like the San Juan River. It's catch and release. We catch you, take you to jail, and the system releases you back into the community to further steal cars. We've worked extensively to make sure that we're able to keep people detained through our SHIELD program and the DA's office and identifying the top 25. But from the very beginning in 2017, when I returned, our #1 partner in prosecution was the Office of the Superintendent of Insurance. Thank them for being here today. You want to say anything? Good. They help us with the prosecution of some of these prolific auto theft offenders and making sure that they're able to take these individuals into custody. But Gilbert or somebody sometime today will get out a chart kind of showing the decrease in auto theft over the past 7 years, so that you could clearly see how auto theft has declined within the city. And we're going to show you a video from our bait car. Everybody always loves the bait car or helicopter, both. Both grapplers. So we got a lot of technology used into this. And after that, I'm going to turn it over to Commander Bernard to give you a little bit more information and what we're seeing in the city.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Commander Jeff Bernard with the Investigative Services Division. So I'm just going to talk a little bit more about some of the information that we share throughout every single week. So as you can see from this data that we have, we provide this, what we call Duke City Stats. So every area command, the investigative units, we go to this meeting every single week. So this is just one of the charts that we share, but as you can see, this will have highlights of which vehicles are being stolen the most, which parts of the city they're being stolen from. Sometimes you'll have certain areas of the city where certain vehicles are being stolen more than others. So we share this, and we also, on the next page, you'll see a heat map, and this heat map kind of also illustrates where these things are going on. So this helps us figure out how we're going to utilize our resources better. So if we have a certain type of vehicle being stolen in a certain area, that's something that we may consider where we're going to put our bait cars at. The other thing we do at Duke City Stats is each of the area commands, they let us know what they're seeing. So they make different requests for bait cars to come in or different TAC plans. Like the chief mentioned, we do TAC plans twice a week, every single week. So seeing the trends that are going on through the city helps us identify where we're going to do those TAC plans and what we're going to focus on. Additionally, from that, we have several things or several different pieces of information that we share. We talked about the Top 25 program, and we share that with OSI, we share that with the DA's office. So when we arrest somebody from there, we email them that they've been arrested, they're in a Top 25 program, they're a prolific offender, and we've been able to get a lot more of them held on preventative detention than we have in the past, and that's been very helpful for decreasing the numbers. Aside from that, our Top 25 list goes out to each area command every single week. We update it weekly, and we've also been running a program where we're sharing that and releasing it in the media weekly as well. We highlight specific offenders from that, and we go on from there. What we've also been doing is we keep track of everyone that we arrest for an auto theft related crime. And then we keep track of when they're released from jail. So each week we also send what we call a recently released offender list to all of our area commands. So we'll see which area command they were arrested in, which area command the vehicle was stolen, what type of vehicle it was. So if all of a sudden someone's released from jail and we see several vehicles of that type being stolen again, specifically in those areas, it helps us figure out who we're looking for and who may be repeat offenders. Does anyone else have any questions about any of the information we share?
We'll turn it over for questions. And just so you know, that is outdated information. We just wanted to give you guys kind of an idea, a snapshot of what that internal information looks like. So it's out of date, just so you know.
Would you be able to email us an up-to-date one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get an updated one, and I want them to get you the line chart showing 17 till now and the constant decreases over the years. So, George, can you make sure we get that put together ASAP, like a line graph from 17 till now, and then just an updated numbers for the year? Anything else? Yes.
A couple of questions. I'll start with first. You said Kias and Hyundais aren't now your most stolen cars. What are some of the more stolen cars now that you're seeing?
I think the last time I saw it was back to Chevy.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of
Chevy pickup
Dodge
trucks
trucks.
and Dodge pickup trucks.
You said the last 7 years, auto thefts have been decreasing. What do you say is the best thing that you guys are doing in order for that to keep going down?
People are going to jail. in 2017, when I came back, I remember in 2018, I organized the first auto theft investigation. And auto theft was so bad that I think in the first 3 hours, our tactical section and Southeast officers had taken like 3 or 4 people into custody driving stolen cars. That's how the availability of them was on Central Boulevard. And we continued that. And I remember I was shocked because we had a former criminal, Brasher. TJ probably remembers him. We had him flee from a car, and I was shocked that he was out of prison because I helped send him there in 2011 for 53. We had 53 counts of stolen motor vehicle on him. And from there, we just stayed proactive. We had to rebuild the bait car program, and we've had to do it one time since also because technology, we went from 3G to 4G and technology stops working. So we had rebuilt the bait car program. We added license plate readers throughout the city. We have more license plate readers, and I'm happy to announce, and this probably be the first time everybody hears this, is we are upgrading our OBRD system, and every police car will be outfitted with the camera. Marked unit will be outfitted with the camera by the end of the year that has a license plate reader built into it. So we expect that we'll further increase our amount of in custodies with auto theft, but we've really relied on technology. Duke City Stat has been a game changer, and I'll have Gilbert organize a press conference on that in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So many times in the years past, APD had such siloed information. I literally sat in that room as a deputy chief, and I'd ask for an update on homicides, and none of my commanders had the updates on homicides. Information is now shared through Duke City Stat, and people are held accountable. And it's a slight resemblance of what we used to do years ago with a POP project that we'd meet monthly. But this is weekly, it's updated, and it utilizes all of our technology that we have now. And it's headed by, in the past as a lieutenant, I headed the problem solving, the POP meeting that we had monthly. This weekly meeting is headed by 2 deputy chiefs, the field and investigations that make sure commanders are held accountable for fighting the crime that's increasing the most. So I think it's no one thing that's helped us decrease auto theft. It's a lot of different things. The prosecution angle, trying to keep people detained. And I think that one of the biggest successes auto theft has had over the years is they evolve very quickly to whatever the issue is. We evolved very quickly to Hyundai's being a problem. We've evolved to Chevy's, Dodge's being a problem. We evolved to people not being able to be kept in custody. We've evolved to people being released and they're stealing cars again, and how are we going to know? So that top 25 doesn't just tell us who we're looking for. It tells us people that we should be aware of if they get released, that we're sure they're going to start stealing cars again and keep an eye on them.
Would you also credit your bait car program to that too? You guys have released a lot more videos from those, and it seems you guys are utilizing that more than maybe 7 years ago.
Yes, like I stated earlier, the bait car program had gone, when I got back, there was no bait car program to speak of. The technology had expired. We had to buy new systems, and we revamped it and got the program out again. And during the time frame, if you think about, I think about the first year I was chief, the technology, they went up to 5G, and we had to do it all over again. And I remember doing a story with the Journal talking about we had an increase for about 3 months, and a lot of it had to do during that transition time. The bait cars are a funny thing, though. It's a constant fight with investigators. The investigators hate for us to release bait car video because they don't want criminals to know there's bait cars out there. But when we developed the program and we saw how successful cities utilized it, the deterrence factor of having a bait car is the biggest part of it, is people are deterred from stealing them because they think there's a bait car. So not only are you taking people into custody, you're also deterring others. So that's a constant fight we have with, and we have times when we release a lot of video and then, you know, somebody will not be paying attention and no video will be coming out. So we're going to work harder to always be releasing that because it is such a deterrent.
Chief, the vehicles in Albuquerque are stolen for all sorts of reasons. I say the top two are probably to commit other crimes or to be scrapped down and sold for parts. So my first question, have you guys identified any chop shops in Albuquerque? And as a follow-up question, can you speak to how many crimes involve stolen vehicles?
I'm going to turn it over to Jeff for the specifics on chop shops, because I do know that we had one after the new legislation, the chop shop bill passed. That was the first time we were able to use that new piece of legislation. But in 2018, if you look back through old video, I clearly stated that the motor vehicle is the mode of transportation for all criminal activity. There is countless homicides. The 5-year-old who was killed inside of a trailer park on the west side, 2 stolen cars. Numerous other homicides, stolen cars. Drug dealing, stolen cars. People robbing banks, stolen cars. People do not commit crime in this city in their own vehicle. Generally speaking, they commit it in a stolen car. So we know that by focusing, this is why we focus so much technology, money, and effort into auto theft. If we could take auto theft offenders to jail, we're affecting crime across the board. We're affecting robberies, we're affecting homicides, drug dealing. So we will continue. And anybody who knows me knows my biggest passion in this field of law enforcement is, my passion has always been auto theft. I love for us to be able to go out, chase, and take auto theft offenders to jail. It just, to me, it's one of those crimes that a stolen car impacts a family immensely. And anytime we could take somebody to jail, it benefits us as a community. Jeff, if you want to talk a little about the chop shops.
We actually had another chop shop that we dealt with probably, I don't know, I think it was maybe 4 or 5 months ago. I could be a little off on my timeline. So we definitely are seeing chop shops still, and that is a focus of our investigation. We actually have a lot of help from OSI when it comes to prosecution on those. They've been great for that. As far as committing other crimes, that's what we see the most of. And then, of course, we'll see some different trends with newer vehicles being stolen and transported across different state lines and country lines, if that makes sense. Those are probably the other things that we see.
Just so you guys know, in the press release, I did include some of the top 25 offender cases, recent arrests that they had in 2024, so you can reference those for your stories.
And I believe I sent you one on the chop shop.
Yeah,
It was
one with the chop
it was actually a tow yard that was doing some illegal activity and taking some of the vehicles. And we found, I want to say we found 4 stolen vehicles or parts of stolen vehicles in that chop shop that we did recently.
Gregory?
Are you seeing increase in deaths involving vehicles, push button ignitions, starters?
That's all yours, buddy.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we have seen a new trend with that. Essentially, there's a device out there that allows you to reprogram a key fob. And so we've had different trends with that. We haven't been affected as some other parts of the country, but as the chief mentioned, we're always looking for different trends. So I know there's been several states that have had huge issues with that, even specifically at the airport, because they have a lot of vehicles parked there and people don't get those right away. So those are some of the vehicles I was talking about seeing cross state lines and country lines, and we've actually cooperated with some investigations. I mean, we had an arrest here that involved a ring in Dallas where they were doing it a lot, and they were coming up here somewhat too, so we are seeing that.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, everybody.
Thanks.